Vishwajit, we will start exactly on 6.
Yes, sir.
Huh.
No problem. No problem.
Okay. Just 3-4 minutes we will wait. Yeah.
Okay, no problem, sir.
Madam, now we can
Okay.
start.
Yeah, I'm done. I was waiting.
Vishwajit, starting.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody.
Good
I
evening.
welcome you all in the sixth session of this faculty development program organizing by Bengal School of Technology in collaboration with APTI Bengal branch and Macaut West Bengal. Hope you all are fine. In today's session, it is also very important session throughout the 5 days. And in today's session, the coordinator is Dr. Vishwajit Basu, Associate Professor, Bengal School of Technology, life member of IPA. And Dr. Basu, the session is yours. Please
Yes, sir.
introduce the speaker and start the session.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Good evening to all, all the participants, and good evening to all the team of BST, Bengal School of Technology. So, on behalf of Bengal School of Technology, I, Dr. Vishwajit Basu, welcome you all, and I welcome you, madam. I welcome all the participants for today's webinar. Today, we are very much lucky that one of the eminent personality is with us, Dr. Jyotsna R. Madan. Dr. Jyotsna R. Madan, she did her PhD in pharmacy from Gautam Budh Technical University, Lucknow. She did her master's in pharmacy from Department of Pharmaceutics from LM College of Pharmacy, Ahmedabad. She has 17 years of teaching experience, and also she has 5 years of industrial experience. She has contributed more than 40 research papers in various national and international journals. She has delivered numerous talks and lectures in many seminars, conferences in national and international level. She is also a life member of many statutory bodies also. And she also received rupees 2 lakhs research fund from University of Pune for research work during academic period 2012 to 2014. This is the brief introductions of today's speaker, Dr. Jyotsna R. Madan. Today's topic is problem-based learning, an effective pedagogical tool. So we are very much eager to hear from you, madam. I welcome you again on behalf of Bengal School of Technology. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to all the participants and also to the organizers. First of all, I would like to thank Bengal School of Technology and Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India, Bengal branch, and Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology, West Bengal, for having organized this e-faculty development program on recent trends in pharmaceutical technology. I'm honored to be a part of this huge program, and it's my proud privilege to share with you about a pedagogical technique which we are following at our institute since the year 2012. And believe me that this problem-based learning, this pedagogical tool will really enhance your teaching learning experience. So with this, I would just like to tell you that today it is all about experience sharing. I'm going to share about our experiences in problem-based learning. I hope I'm audible and my screen is clear. Okay.
Yes, madam, sure.
Yeah. So I'll be dividing my entire talk into 3 parts so that, like if you have any doubts or anything you want clarification, I will stop at 3 places. And at the 3 places, by then you should have, put all your questions in the chat box. So when the section 1 finishes, I'll take the questions from the chat box. When I've answered all of those questions, then I'll move to section 2, and then I'll move to section 3. Please, we need to concentrate for the next at least 1.5 hours, because I'll be sharing everything, so that the aim of this session is that at least you go and you start the practice of problem-based learning at your institute. you as a faculty, I'm sure there are a lot of young faculty members who want to learn how to enhance their teaching and the learning experience enhancement for the student. So the session's objective is that faculty should consider PBL as a instructional strategy besides the lecturing that we are already doing. And I would also help you that how can you go back and plan and conduct effective PBL sessions at your institute. So these are our objectives today. Sophie could remember times when the teachers or her mother had tried to teach her things she hadn't been receptive to. And whenever she had learned something, it was when she had somehow contributed to it herself. This particular sentence I have taken from the book Jostein Gaarder's Sophie's World. Now, Sophie's World is a very good bestseller by this author, Jostein Gaarder. It is a Norwegian novel, and it's a story about a girl, Sophie, and she receives, three letters, small letters, one sentence in the letter box. So what are those three letters? The first one is that, who am I? The second is, how did this world come from? So, just nothing else is written. One letter comes to her and the question is there, who am I? Then a second one, that where did this world come from? And this is, these questions, they triggered her mind, and she sets on the journey of studying philosophy of the world, how the world came, how the humans came. And, philosophy as such is a very dry subject, but Sophie could, start reading and understanding out of the quest for finding out the answers to those small letters which had come in her letterbox. So this, I have taken this sentence from the book Sophie's World by Jostein. But all of you will think that why ma'am has taken this sentence? What is the relevance of this sentence? So I want to ask all of you a question. The question is, what do you think is the most important phrase in education? You could put your answers in the chat box. What do you think is the most important phrase in education? You can just think whatever, everybody could have a different answer, and you can put your answer in the chat box. I'll give you about a few minutes to think what you think is the most important phrase in education based on what I told you about Sophie. Okay, so many of you have got some answers, and I can see the chat box. So somebody saying the most is the objective, learning and teaching. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead. The most important phrase in education is I don't know. See, all of you are here today because you feel that you don't know properly about problem-based learning. That is that thing in your mind that I don't know problem-based learning, so let me go and learn. So learning begins when, first of all, we understand what we don't know. And then when we go on the journey to find out about it, that is how, learning will begin. And that is what happened with Sophie. She got two questions. Who am I and what is world about? And she realized, I don't know. So she sets out on her journey for learning. Now, the traditional teaching that we all follow in our institutes, it is teach. I go to my class, I teach. So I think that the students have learned. Then after they have learned, I, give them some problems, some things, and I feel that now they are going to apply. The major form of delivery today in traditional teaching, is the lecture mode. Obviously, I'm not denying we all have to take the lectures, and lecture is a very major form of teaching. Now, there is a small activity which you can do with a pen and paper on your this thing. I'll just share the activity. 1 minute. The activity says that, can you list some advantages of the teacher-centered classroom teaching, lecturing? It is, what are the advantages of this method that we are following, the traditional teaching? Then what are the limitations? Just write for yourself, or please write in the chat box. This is activity number 1. What do you think are the advantages of the teacher-centered teaching lecturing? You could write in the chat box and give me 1 or 2 limitations. If you can give me a list of 5 limitations, I will be very happy. Please think and write in the chat box. I'll take it from the chat box. Yes, very good. Eye-to-eye contact, excellent, is which we are missing right now in this online workshop also. Excellent answer by Basu sir. Learning and putting it in the right direction by Pandit sir. Excellent. Face reading, excellent. Okay. So all of you have thought. So I will just discuss that, teacher-centered classroom teaching, lecturing, the control of the entire classroom is with me. So, as a teacher, I'm even able to coax the ones who are slow, who are not paying attention. I'm able to get them into the classroom and learn something. So the control is totally with me. It is very focused. I can finish the syllabus because I come with a, set syllabus. I've already practiced it. And as a teacher, you are an expert on it. So definitely you are going to get them. Years of experience is coming into the classroom. So that is a big advantage of the teacher-centered classroom teaching, where because of your experience, you are able to put it forth in a very simple manner, the whole concept to the students. But can you tell me a few limitations of the teacher-centered classroom teaching? Let us see what are the limitations. Yes, time is restricted. Very good. Priyanka ma'am is saying, Kumar Swami sir is saying that, yes, we are dumping knowledge. Excellent. So what we are saying that what happens, the major limitation is I'm teaching. See, you might be an excellent teacher. You have 20 years of experience. So you are bringing the best of pharmaceutics in the class. But, do you have a control on learning? Do you have any method by which you are really sure that the students have learned in your teacher-centered classroom teaching? And before this, we already said that students learn when they realize that they don't know. So they have to first realize that I don't know. It should not be that only I'm bombarding to them. So one of the limitations is that the teaching is excellent advantage, but the learning is still a question mark. Okay. So activity 1 tells us that lecture mode, the student often becomes passive. Learning, we don't know. I'm active. I'm a good teacher. But is he also as active as me in his learning? No, he might become a little passive learner. And the student, he just relies on transcription. I'm speaking and he's just, taking it down, just transcribing my notes. He's more relying on memorization. He's more relying on repetition. And it has been seen that in the lecture mode, the retention becomes minimal and often the student is unable to apply the knowledge. So these are a few limitations of the lecture mode, and that is why sometimes, this is just for the humor part of it, that a lecture is a process by which the notes of a speaker become the notes of a student without passing through the minds of either. Don't take it wrong. This is just for the humor part of it. Sometimes, some students also take it as an academic period set aside for rest and recovery. So now there is something which is lacking in the lecture mode. Learning is not very good in the lecture mode. There is no control on learning. Therefore, first, when you want to move from the lecture mode where you feel the learning is less, you must first understand what are the types of learning a student undergoes. See, learning in an undergraduate program, you have to have 3 types of learnings. The cognitive domain, which is used to your brain, to your mental skills, and it is also the knowledge component of learning. The affective domain, which is the growth in feelings or emotional area, the attitude. Now, please remember that in today's world, more than knowledge, everybody is saying that to survive in the industry, in the corporate world, in the working world, more than your knowledge, what is required? Attitude. Can anybody tell me that in the lecture mode, are we able to build this attitude? Now, attitude is a very big component, which in 4 years you have to build in your students, because finally he has to get placed in the final year and he should have the right attitude. Attitude reflects in your interview, attitude reflects in your behavior in front of the others, group discussion, everywhere. So I still feel there is a question mark of growing or building attitude in the students through the lecture mode. The third is the psychomotor learning, which is the manual or physical skills. So skills, definitely being in a pharmacy college, we are developing the skills, because in the practicals, what you are teaching, where he's handling the machines, he's doing the dilutions, he's operating the equipment, that is where you are developing his psychomotor skills. Now, in the cognitive domain, if we see that in the cognitive domain, which is the mental skills, there was a scientist of Bloom, an education scientist, who gave us this Bloom's taxonomy. So he said that if you are going to build the cognitive domain, the student, you have to build knowledge, comprehension, his application, analysis, synthesis, evaluations, all these he should be able to do. If you look at all these words, these are nouns. Okay, Bloom's taxonomy, this is the original Bloom taxonomy, which was in the 1970s. If you look at all these words, these are nouns. This Bloom's taxonomy was revised by Bloom student Lauren Anderson in 1990. And he said that we should revise Bloom's taxonomy. We should not have nouns, we should have verbs. You know what are verbs? These are doing words. Doing means action words. So he said, let's convert this knowledge into remembering. ing he has added everywhere. So what has it become? It has all become action verbs. So he said, just let us not think about the nouns. And so they became remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. He changed this. Okay. Now, why this Bloom's taxonomy is important? Because in the lecture mode, we have generally seen that we have given more stress to lower order thinking skills, like understanding, remembering. In the old Bloom's taxonomy, knowledge, comprehension. But how do we build a student's high order thinking skills? And these are very important to be built as per the latest guidelines also. The latest, if you go for accreditation also, the stress is, what are you doing to build the students higher order thinking skills, which is not so easily possible in a lecture mode. So there is a need to shift from teaching to learning. Right now, there is only teach in a lecture mode. We have to shift to learn. It has to shift from teacher-centered to student-centered. It has to shift. Right now, it is transfer of a knowledge. It should be the student should discover. Right now, passive learning should change to active learning. From competition between students for marks and all, let us make the students help each other in cooperative learning. The focus is on the input. What this I have given, the same thing you should write in the answer. No, the focus should be on the outcomes. Has the student understood what I have learned? From shift has to be from a set lecture time to a variable time for learning. See, today we are sitting from 6 to 7 to learn problem-based learning. Aren't we learning in a variable time? This is not our college hours, no, but for learning we have come. So even the student might want to learn in variable time. Let us shift from answering questions. The student asks a question, I answer. Let us have the students asking questions. Let us shift from syllabus covered to building competency in the student. So all of us have realized that we have to focus more from teaching to learning. Let us take now activity number 2. Please take your pen and paper. According to you, who are the main players in education? list them in order of decreasing importance. Means the most important education player will be at the top and the least important will be at the bottom. Okay. So, you know, anybody can write any players in education. Lot of players are there. See, the accreditation bodies are the players. Your university is the player. Then your society, the management is the player. Then obviously the teacher is the player. The student is the player. Okay. Let me see some answers in the tag. Yes, learner, teacher, very good. Society, very good. Parents, teacher. So like this. Now, are there any equal partners in education? Means, do you feel that the university syllabus, so university plus the private college management, are they equal partners? What do you feel? Who are the equal partners in education? Put them side by side if you think so. Okay. Now, let me see what answers you have given. Yes, very good. One of the most important, yes, parents are also some partners. Student teacher, you can, is an equal partner. Okay. And can you list some teaching methodologies? Like today we are studying it is pedagogical tool or a teaching tool. We are studying problem-based learning. Besides that, do you know any other methods? Case-based learning could be there. Problem solving could be there. So like this, you people might be knowing some other methods also. Okay, management and teacher, very good. Student teacher management partners, very good. Practice-based learning, yes. Now, problem solving, very good. But today I want to tell you that problem solving will be different from problem-based learning, which session I'm taking today. So good, a lot of methodologies you are aware of. So now we have realized that there can be equal partners. It could be the student and the parent. It could be the teacher and the student. But we feel that the teacher and the student are the most important equal partners in education. So I'm coming to what is problem-based learning finally. Now many of you are thinking, what is it? It is using problems or cases to identifying learning issues. Please remember, it is different from problem solving. It is not problem solving. The student identifies why this problem has been given to us. In the problem, there is a learning issue. He has to learn that issue. Okay. The basic principle supporting the concept of PBL is older than formal education itself. Namely, learning is initiated by a posed problem, query, or puzzle that the learner wants to solve. Like the query Sophie had in her letterbox, who are you? Where did this world come from? So some query. Always remember, learning is initiated by a query. So for today's workshop, we will take this definition. PBL is an instructional method that challenges the students to learn, working cooperatively in groups to seek solutions to real world problems. I think I have said the students will work in groups. They will cooperate with each other's learning. They will not compete and they will seek solutions to real world problems. Now, why should we use problem-based learning? It will help the student to apply his knowledge to real-world situation. It will enable the student to become a producer rather than a consumer. Right now, he's just a consumer of knowledge. When we will have producers of knowledge, only then the country will grow. There will be more people who will put up startups. It will help the student develop communication, reasoning, and critical thinking skills. So these are the three things which are very important to be successful in his career. He is able to critically analyze a situation, means logically he will be able to approach every problem in his corporate life. So as per Samford University, the curriculum as a prescription should turn to curriculum as an experience, from teacher-centered to student-centered, from linear and rational to coherent and relevant. From a part, we take small parts of the lecture, then we complete the whole topic. In PBL, if you want the student to have an experience, you give the whole, and he's going to put the parts together. Teaching has transmitting. Teaching should become as facilitating. Now, this is a new term I'm introducing here, facilitating. Your role will change from a teacher to a facilitator. This learning as receiving, learning will not be as just receiving notes from the teacher, all his points from the teacher. The student will construct his knowledge, learning as constructed. Here the lecture is in a structured environment. The student will learn in a more flexible environment. He will decide his learning timings. Now, still many of you are feeling that this is difficult. The hardest part is to change our thinking. In most lessons, the role of the educator is to take a standard and devise a lesson around it. Means I will start with, tablets, and the whole thing will be around that only. Single goal is to help the student master the standard. I want him to know exactly the main things about tablet. But with problem-based learning, the teacher must start with the problem. He has to build a lesson around the problem. He has to allow the students to own the process. Don't want very structured, now finish it. Now 1 hour, 45 minutes, you have to finish this. No, they should be allowed to own the process, and they should be allowed to choose the technology with which they will present their solution. They can write, they can build models, they can give small presentations of 3, 3, 4 slides. And there can be many standards that are addressed during the lesson. See, when I take a pharmaceutics class, I only talk about pharmaceutics. But when there is a PBL session, maybe the students deviate to the other subject. So we must let them deviate. There could be many standards that are addressed during the lesson when it is a PBL session. So PBL is a focus on learning rather than on teaching. And the instructor means the teacher, he becomes a coach. You know what a coach does? He just facilitates the process of learning. Who all are using PBL? These are some of the schools where problem-based learning is being used. What is the benefit of problem-based learning to the individual or student? These are the benefits: motivates learning, developing reasoning skills, like I said, critical thinking, developing self-learning, and help structure the knowledge in context of application. Sometimes, we have taught the whole chapter. The student is not able to tell us only that where he's going to apply in the real world. He can't understand how it will be applied. All this will be overcome in problem-based learning sessions. Now I'm coming to an important point, that what is problem-based learning and how is it different from problem solving? So don't have confusion. They are different but interrelated. Now I'll explain to you how. Problem solving is arriving at decisions based on prior knowledge. Now I'm teaching biopharmaceutics. I have taught compartment modeling, and then I'm giving them problems to solve. That is problem solving. Already I have taught the whole chapter, so he just has to use his prior knowledge. But what is problem based learning? The process of acquiring new knowledge based on recognition of a need to learn. First, the student should feel there is a need to learn. Education begins when you will feel there is a need to learn, and then he acquires knowledge based on that. In problem-based learning, in the beginning, you are given a problem. Then you identify what we need to know. The students will identify that what we need to know. They will learn it, they will apply it. And what is problem solving? In the starting, we are told what we need to know. Means in the lecture, I have told them everything. And then what happens? Everything I have taught, they have learned it. And after that, they are given a problem to illustrate how to use it. Means everything has been taught, student has learned it, now give a problem at the end. But can you see what is problem based learning? In the problem based learning, the problem is given in the beginning. In problem solving, the problem is given at the end. So there is a difference. At the end of today's workshop, you will understand exactly what is am I talking about. Now these problems which are given to the student to start the lecture, start the problem based learning session, let us call it. Those problems drive the instruction. Means the whole thing depends on how good you have written a problem. That will is the starting point to have a good problem based learning session. Problems are ill structured. Don't give exact problem that the student is able to guess immediately that why ma'am has given me this problem. The problem, he should struggle with it. Once the student struggles to decide what is his learning objective, till then they are discussing. Otherwise, you are not giving them a chance to discuss in the group. Then the students will solve the problem. Students are only given guidelines to approach the problem. As a facilitator, now I told you your role changes. You are no more a teacher. You become a coach, a facilitator. So don't start giving away the direct answers. You just give them some open-ended, questions. Okay, this problem, is it related to pharmacokinetics? Is it related to something to do with the regulations of FDA? Like this, give some questions, but don't give the direct answer. And in PBL, you must have authentic assessment. Why I'm saying authentic assessment means you have to see that he has knowledge, he has skills, and please remember this third component, which I said we are not able to assess in our lectures. What is that third component? It is whether he has developed the right attitude, the behavior. In 4 years in the lecture, you are not able to give him tips about what is wrong in his behavior or how he can improve it further. That opportunity you will get in the PBL sessions, and the instructor serves as a. Now the problems should be interdisciplinary.
Hello. Madam, can you hear us? Hello, madam.
Let us wait. I think there is internet connection from madam's
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
Just let us wait. Let us be online.
Okay. Vishwajit, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you please make a phone call to my?
Okay, sir.
She has joined. Okay. Madam, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm sorry, there is a lot of thunder and rain in Pune, so I think I got disconnected. So we will just start from where we left, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Okay, no problem, madam.
So what I was trying to say, that even if you don't write the problems in, interdisciplinary, because everybody wants to write off his subject, but don't discourage the students from discussing some part of pharmacology, maybe he wants to discuss some part of pharmacognosy. This way, you know, the world is talking about interdisciplinary research. It is such a big thing today. And we are not coming out of compartments of pharmaceutics and pharmacology and pharmacognosy. So this is our opportunity to come out of those compartments. So now you will say that why these problems? You know why problems? Because I have already told you this problem will drive the learning, and the student will find out when you give him the problem, the first thing he will do is he will say, why this problem has been given to me? Why I need to know this? And then he will also see how this is related to the real world. He will try to put a connect. So, you know, soon you will come to know when I show you some problems. Now, some of you are thinking that, you know, nothing they are going to learn in this. They are only going to less they will remember by doing all this. Somebody says that everybody can't go through PBL session. Some of you are feeling that it is going to be very chatty. They will just talk and then they will just go away. They will just talk and talk through the session. It is very unstructured. How can they just take a problem and go to any subject? No, some of you are thinking like this, but believe me, the rationale for undergraduate introducing PBL into the undergraduate curriculum is that it has been seen that adults, you know, 18+ year old students, these are adults and they are motivated by learning which is relevant to them, which is based on their previous experiences, where they learn when they participate actively, and they also learn when they are responsible for their own learning. Okay, all these are the principles of adult learning. Therefore, for adult education and for self-directed learning, you must introduce PBL sessions in your undergraduate as well as your postgraduate program. Now, please remember, this self-directed learning is a very important property which every individual should have. Today, we have got so much experience in teaching, but aren't you all here to learn about problem-based learning? You yourself decided to come for this workshop. So why you decided? Because you feel you want to learn more. So you are a self-directed learner, and that is what you should make your student also. With problem-based learning, your student will become a self-directed learner. And the objectives of the PBL process are finally development of all the three components of learning: the knowledge, the attitude, and the skills. With good knowledge, good skills, but a wrong attitude. What is attitude component? Working in a team, good interpersonal skills, importance of the psychosocial issues. He should be connected to the society. All this comes in the attitude part. So what else is good about PBL? It is, you know, when you are in the medical representative, don't you need negotiating skills? Okay, problem solving you need, working in groups you need. You should be able to reflect upon what you have done in your works. Today I go to work, I should reflect after this workshop whether it was good. Can my next workshop be better than this? So all these things, who teaches you? The PBL session teaches you. Presentation and research skills, learning from each other, learner centered. All these are the importance of PBL. So PBL is relevant to the need of the industry. It promotes retention and application of knowledge, and it helps the student become a self-directed, lifelong learner. So this is just the introduction about PBL. Now I'll go to the methodology of PBL. Before I go to the methodology of PBL, I will just take your questions from the chat box. If you have typed any questions, then I will go to part 2. Yes, Pandit sir is telling that we should not indulge students to solve the problem. See, I'll be teaching you, PBL is not about problem solving. PBL is a method in which, now in methodology, you will understand. You will start the session by giving a problem. in breaking that problem, breaking their head in the problem, they will be able to come up with the entire topic which you have hidden in the problem. That learning objective you as a teacher have hidden in this problem. Okay. So we are not going to teach them anything. They are going to learn on their own. Okay. So I can't see any major questions. I'm going to methodology now. How we actually will do it. First thing you need is it begins with a great problem. It should address a number of standards. Means not that one small thing they have to find out and problem is over. No. It should be a real life problem that matters to your student. It should be an issue, challenge, scenario you can present to your students. It should be a problem that your students face, and accordingly you should write a problem statement. But please remember, it should be written from the student's perspective. Now see, if you are teaching you are giving a PBL session for the second year. Now in second year, if no pharmacokinetics has been taught, so don't write a problem statement which is not from his perspective. How much he knows based on first year and what you want him to learn based on second year, that type of problem statement you should write. It should be few lines that describe the problem in students' language, or it could be one line for a general objective statement. The problem statement should be concise and it should drive the instruction. So first, problems. I will show you real examples of problems, don't worry. First, you understand the method. What you need to do as a teacher, you have two roles. The first role is to write good problems. What will the students and the group do? They will address the problem, identifying what they need to learn. What is the meaning of identifying what they need to learn? Means in this problem, the teacher has hidden a learning objective that they have to find out. And in order to develop a solution, means when they develop the solution to the problem, one whole topic will be covered by them on their own. And then how they will cover it? By looking for appropriate learning resources. Students now see, problem has been given in a group, no? So they will come together. You will see how they behave with each other, how they are, is somebody being very dominating. All these things you will see this. They will collaborate with each other and they will find answers to their learning objective. At the end, small PPTs they can give to present what they have found out. What is your role? First, you will develop problems. Second role is that you are a facilitator. Means you will go to the PBL session. That time you will be a facilitator. Facilitator could be anybody. He doesn't have to be the person who wrote the problem. Make sure students are staying on track and finding the resources they need. You just have to be a facilitator there. When they are discussing the problem is in your hand also. Just give them questions. Don't you think we have to find out this? If they don't know the right books, you can tell them, don't you think we must see this in Lackman, we must see this in Remington, we must see this in Encyclopedia of Technology. Like this, just help them with the resources. Raise questions to the students' groups. Ask them questions to deepen their connection. If they are not able to connect everything in the problem, you put some open-ended questions. So you don't have to give the direct answer to the problem. Don't give direct guidance. You have to balance between guidance and self-directed learning. So please remember 3 things you need to do a problem-based learning session. A facilitator, he could be of any subject. He needed to be the problem writer. A problem is also known as a trigger because it triggers the students on a inquiry mode. He goes into an inquiry mode and he starts finding why this problem has been given by my teacher to me. And you need a group who will struggle with this problem. First, they will find out the learning objective. So facilitator has to help them find the correct learning objective. Definitely, if this problem has been written by a pharmaceutics teacher, the learning objective would be pertaining to pharmaceutics of supposing physical pharmacies, second year teachers. But maybe they find out few things extra out of their own discussions. They find out of other subjects. let them find out. But the main learning objective to find out, the facilitator should help them. Help in the sense, not give them direct, let them discuss, just giving them some hints when they are discussing. Now a facilitator should have, now 3 things we need. So what is your role as a facilitator? Understand this role. This is very important. You should have the knowledge of this PBL process. You should be committed to student directed learning. You should be able to facilitate and not teach. Don't start teaching in a PBL session. Don't start lecturing. You should be able to give constructive evaluation of the student and group. Means observe him, how he's presenting, what is his body language, how is his behavior towards the group, is he not moving, he's just copying from others. All these things are known as, you should be able to make. So if you are not sitting and observing them, how will you evaluate the students? So role of a teacher is as a facilitator, and he should give authentic assessment. If the group stops discussing only, your role is to push them towards the discussion. Adjust the levels of challenge. Keep the students involved and challenge the students' thinking. This is your role as a facilitator. Once you have hooked the students to the problem, then you should fade to the sidelines. Don't start looking at your watch and saying, oh, my time for tea has come. Now quickly finish your PBL session, give me all the answers and go away. No, don't try to, speeden them. You be on the side, let them go to the library, let them discuss. Give direct instruction only when it is absolutely necessary. Don't give away the definitions, the objectives, the advantages. No. When students have difficulties, redirect through questions and observations. The major goal is to develop thinking. And you should challenge the students. If they are not discussing in the right direction, I told you, put an open-ended question. Maybe this question is related to the excipients in tablets. I think this method, this is related to the granulation methods. Maybe like this, give some open-ended question. Then you must observe and assess the students. This was your role as a facilitator. So 3 things we need. First was the facilitator. Second is the group. What will the group do? Group means whose group it is? A group of 6 to 8 students. The whole group will first clarify the question. What is the question? Why this problem has been given? What could be the reason this problem has been given? They will find out the learning objectives. They should understand the principles of PBL. First, they should appoint a reader, means somebody who will take and read the problem loudly. Everybody will also read, but one person can stand up and read the problem loudly. They should also appoint a scriber. Who is a scriber? Scriber is a person who's going to take the notes. So see, 6 to 8 people are discussing. One person will write the notes. Discussion of students can have many points, no? And at the end of this discussion, they will divide all the work amongst themselves. That, okay, you find out what are the methods of granulation. You find out what are the excipients needed in different types of granulation. You find out the tableting machine. Means I'm just giving example, whatever that PBL was about. They should be able to take risk, means think beyond. They should be open. They should participate. Then your role is that if somebody is not participating, how he will open his mouth in the group discussion when other college students have also come, if he's not participating in speaking in PBL sessions of your own college. So from here, your training for placement also begins. And they should experience the whole process. They should be sensitive. Some people are, fighting in the PBL sessions. No, you should be sensitive to each other. So all these things you can develop in a PBL session in the group. The first thing is the PBL group should identify why this problem has been given to us. What is the learning issue, the learning objective in this problem? So the group will engage with the problem. Now see, the problem should be of a certain level. I cannot give a pharmacokinetics problem to first year student, second year student. First, there should be some level, that what from where they can take on. It has to be connected to what we have already taught them. So first the student will identify what is known. Supposing I have already taught them granulation of tablets, but I have not yet come to all the equipment of tablets. So maybe based on granulation part, I'll not put in the problem. I might put the further equipment part. Then I might put some IPQC tests. I might put some facilities. I might put that how the whole this should be there. The layout of the tableting floor should be there. Okay, but something students will know further. They will find out what they don't know. So they will find out why this question, why this has been given to us. They will develop a hypothesis like we do in research, that maybe this problem has been given to us to understand the various equipment, industrial equipment for tableting. This is their hypothesis. Then they will identify the learning issues. They will identify resources. Okay, for all the equipment, which all books I have to refer, which all websites I can refer. They will study, they will research, they will perform. What is perform? Perform means they will come back in the subsequent PBL session, and this whole learning issue, they will divide amongst themselves all the work, and all will come back in. Somebody will just give a short lecture, somebody would have made notes, from the notes he will explain, somebody with a diagram, somebody wants to give PPT, but the whole group has to do little part of this problem, and they will have a very critique experience, this whole group, that they started with a problem about which they knew nothing. First they found out why this problem has been given, then they found out all the bits and pieces of this problem, and finally they had a new knowledge on their own. That is what is PBL. Now please remember that students should understand that they are responsible for their learning. First PBL session, if you don't direct them properly, you will never have successful PBLs in your college. Multiple PBLs may be required before the students become comfortable with the process and responsible for their own learning. Otherwise, they will just chat like they do in the lab. After 1.5 hours, they will chat and go. If you take your role as a facilitator seriously, then this PBL session will become interesting. Believe me, after 3-4 years, one of your alumni will write to you that because of the problem-based learning sessions, I am able to perform better in my company. I am able to think out of the box. Some feedback you will get. Immediately you will not get. Okay. So how do you start? I will not repeat this. Develop the problems. Design the assessment tools. What are you going to assess? Don't just, say PBL session was good, bad. I will show you the assessment form also. Now let me come back to a trigger, because we have to start with a good trigger. It must engage the student's interest. Make it interesting. It should motivate him to think deeper, explore deeper. Some connect it should have with the real pharmaceutical world. Then only the student will understand why I'm given this. Some familiar context. Familiar means what he already has learned in second year. It should be something taking on from what he has learned. It should provide stimulus for collaboration. Don't give a very short learning objective that they have no work, only one boy goes, he finds out everything, finished. No, try to give that they can collaborate and work in a group. And please remember, the trigger should develop the evaluating, the creating high order thinking skills of the student, analyzing, creating, evaluating skills, not just go and bring the advantages of the solid dosage form, bring the disadvantages. No, that is all lower order thinking skills. So when you write a problem, you should understand what is the maturity of the students, what is the level of the course, whether I'm writing for first year, second year, third year, final year. How much time will it take for this problem to solve? What are the learning resources? Do I have in the library? If you want them to see some equipment, is it there in my PG lab? Use of prompt questions means what type of questions the facilitator can throw to them to prompt them if they are not doing the right discussion. And what is the role of the problem in accomplishing the course objective? Please understand that even if you are saying that this is a problem-based learning, But this problem, who has written? Some course teaching teacher has written. So obviously this problem will have her course objectives hidden in the problem. During the discussion, the first thing is the students will first find out what is the learning objective of this problem. Who will help and guide them in finding that? The proper discussion in front of a facilitator. He will put some questions to bring the discussion in the right direction. Once they have found out many learning objectives, supposing they found out 8 learning objectives, then divide the work in the group, and that group will go and do 2 things everybody will find out. Subsequent PBL session, they will come and present the whole problem. So when you write a good trigger, first you should write its learning objectives. Very important. Why have I written this trigger? Look for possible problems that involve the subject learning outcomes. Check the trigger. Review whether you have the resources. Write a facilitator's guide. Now, this is very important that supposing today I wrote I teach biopharmaceutics. So if I wrote a biopharmaceutics trigger, and then in my PBL session, one pharmacognosy teacher goes, how will she solve this? She's out of touch, though she has basic knowledge. So we will give her a facilitator's guide, which is written by the trigger writer. That is a guide for the facilitator. It is just a 1-page short note it is, okay? In that it is written that what is this problem's learning objective. So all that the facilitator has to do, he has to go through the facilitator guide which has been given to him. If the students are not able to, through the discussion come to the correct learning objective, then the facilitator can look at his facilitator's guides. Some points are written, and based on that he can put open-ended questions and bring the student group to come to the right discussion and find out the correct learning objectives. I hope it is clear. A facilitator could be of any subject. He might have not taught the subject of and he's not necessarily the trigger writer, but he is given a facilitator's guide which is about 1 or 2 pages, notes given by whom? By the person who has written the trigger. This is common to all the facilitators who are handling that particular problem that day, so that the facilitation in all the classrooms by various teachers is also standardized by using the facilitator's guide. Okay, so when a good trigger is written, along with that you should write a facilitator's guide. In short, you can write, you don't have to write big answers in that. And the final review of this trigger is done with the colleague. Now for trigger, we have a trigger vetting process in our college, which vetting means we have to check whether the trigger is right. Are the learning objectives of that course correct? Facilitator notes are correct. First, we vet it in the department. Then we have, first thing you should go back to your college and do, appoint a PBL coordinator. So all the checked documents will be given to the PBL coordinator. PBL coordinator will do the second vetting in the PBL committee. Senior teachers are part of the PBL committee. Then based on the feedback given by this PBL committee, you can again edit the trigger. Then the resubmission of the PBL scenarios and notes. So first thing when you go back to your college is appoint a PBL coordinator. There is a lot of work for PBL coordinator. They have to decide the PBL timetable for the year. Now, all of you, please, I'm giving you one problem. This is a problem. See, it has to be short. Hardly it is a problem of 3-4 lines. Can you see? Concerns about lowering healthcare costs. As this is a problem statement. Please read it. Concerns about. So, who will read it? The reader or the scriber? In the group, the reader will read it. What will the scriber do? Group will appoint. You as a facilitator will tell them, okay, good afternoon, this is your PBL session. Now let us appoint a scriber. Let us appoint a reader for your group. Then the reader will get up and read the problem. What is the problem? Concerns about lowering healthcare costs has resulted in a tremendous increase in the use of generic drug products. Now, maybe it is this is a final year trigger, but maybe the student doesn't know what is a generic and a branded. Let him write what is the difference between generic and branded. That is one of his learning objective. Let him write, no problem. But main learning objective which the trigger writer has written, that is given in your facilitator notes. Those learning objectives this group must find out in their discussion. In view of the same, an Indian company intends to market a new drug product in the local and overseas market. So supposing the students discuss, in local market, which regulatory authority is there? In overseas market, which regulatory authority is there? How do we launch a product? Okay, let them discuss about the regulatory authorities. According to regulatory authorities, the company has to compare the bioavailability of their generic product with the innovator product and therefore design a study for the same. So main learning objective of the person who wrote this trigger is, what are the bioequivalence studies? What are the bioequivalent studies? Can you see now the students must have not been taught anything. No word like bioequivalence has been taught in class, but they have been taught till bioavailability. They just know bioavailability, but they don't know what are the methods of studying bioavailability. Okay. So first they will discuss this. They will find out, okay, maybe they have forgotten what is bioavailability. They will write, what is this bioavailability? They will write what is generic product, innovator. What is compared between the generic and innovator product? Like this, they will discuss and write what all they want to find out. So main learning objectives, what the trigger writer had given, should match with what the students are finding out. Here, see, this is a problem-based learning session. This is our teacher and these students are discussing. She's not telling ki go and find out types of bioavailability studies. No, they are discussing and they are finding out, extracting, identifying, summarizing that what we need to learn. Okay. They are discussing that what they know, what they don't know. What is the generating and ranking of the hypothesis means? What is the hypothesis? They are finding out that maybe this particular PBL problem has been given to us for finding out all the regulations between generic and innovator product. Maybe this has been given to us to find out about different types of bioavailability studies. Still, they are not coming on bioequivalence. Then more discussion. You will help them discuss. This teacher, who's this? Is she a teacher? No, she's a facilitator. She will help them discuss and come to bioequivalence studies if it is written in her facilitator note. By whom? By the trigger writer. Then they will generate that, what all we know, brainstorming, and what all we don't know. Then they will decide what we don't know. What we don't know, they will divide amongst themselves. That this person will find out about what is bioavailability. This will find out about what is difference between generic and innovator product. This will find out about types of bioavailability studies. This person will find out about urine excretion studies. This person will find out what is the bioequivalence. Like this, they can decide what all they want to find out. Okay. So once the students have decided on a preferred hypothesis, means in front of you, they have discussed and said that we want to find out bioavailability comparisons are mandatory for overseas marketing. So they must explain the mechanism, how they are going to link the hypothesis to the present problem. So first they will see what they know. They know what is bioavailability, but they don't know whether it is mandatory for overseas marketing. Supposing they don't know. And what they need to know, now they need to confirm that if I have to go for overseas marketing, is a bioavailability comparison required? If it is for generic, is it required? So like this, they will keep writing what all they need to find out. Okay. So what all they need to find out is known as defining the learning objectives, which were hidden in this PBL. So first PBL, usually what we do, we just find out the learning objectives. Then we give them time, typically 5 to 7 days. So the next week they come back. In that, what they have done, all the learning objectives which they identified in the first week, then what they do in the next week, they have divided all the tasks to the group. Then they will come back and give short presentations on all the tasks that they have divided. Usually there can be 3 to 5 major learning objectives, not more than that. Otherwise, the PBL session only will become very, very long. Okay. And perhaps some small objectives. Like I told you in this PBL, the main objective is bioequivalent studies, but small objective could be what is difference between what do you mean by generic? What do you mean by innovator? Whether it is compulsory to have bioavailability studies for overseas market, for local market. Like this, there could be some objectives which are hidden in this trigger. Okay. So then they will assign the work. To assign tasks to the group members means who will find out what about this particular problem. So please remember that although it is a student-centered activity, major learning objective are identified in advance. Who has written this trigger? That person has already hidden the learning objective while writing this trigger. So what is important is that your writing should be such that you write as per your course, what you want him to learn for your course, and then give him that problem. Tutors may need to provide prompts. Prompts means what? If they are not, tutor means facilitator. He will just give them some question. But don't you think that we must compare innovators product with generic? Then they will discuss how to compare. Somebody will say we must check the weight of both the tablets. Then somebody will say we must check the amount of drug in both the tablets. Then you prompt more questions that only by checking the weight of both the tablets, is it okay? Do you think it is enough? Weight of both the tablets is same. Is it enough? Like this, put prompting questions. Okay, then they will think more. So in problem is encountered before the student has the knowledge to understand it. It is likely to be better focused and retained. He doesn't know anything about bioequivalence. So he's thinking if tablets weight is the same, they are bioequivalent. So like this, when you put prompting questions and discussions, bring them to this, that there must be something else which the FDA wants us to compare. So what is that something else they want us to compare? Then they will find out and they will come back that, okay, bioequivalent studies, we compare the Cmax of both the tablets. So these were actually the learning objectives written by the trigger writer. What is bioequivalence? Need and importance of bioequivalence. When can a generic be produced? Factors for bioequivalence. Steps involved in bioequivalence studies. So 3 to 5 objectives were hidden in this trigger. How will they find out? By the discussion. And after the who will help them in the discussion? Facilitator. Don't just go immediately, and if their discussion is going in the wrong direction, your time for tea has come, you are telling them, अरे खत्म करो now, this तुमको bioequivalence ढूंढने को बोला मैम ने, जाओ ढूंढो and come back in 1 hour. No, that is wrong. Let them struggle, let them discuss. More discussion, you just give them some hints, some open-ended questions. Don't try to rush up this process. Otherwise, the whole objective of the problem-based learning session is lost. Now, this is the reporting back session. First session, 1 week, first session I took today, supposing. That time they discussed, they found out, they divided the work. Now what is this? They are going back. Next week they have come. Then all of them are giving small presentations, and then all that they are putting together, and they are building up their new knowledge. Integrating the new knowledge based on the knowledge is consolidated, and students relate the new knowledge to the current problem. So what all they found out about bioequivalence, then they related to, okay, why this problem was given to us. Problem should be given cold to the student. Means in the class, you should not have taught anything about this learning objectives of this problem. Only maybe you must have taught bioavailability, that is all, but you did not touch on bioequivalent studies. Students will learn when they will be wrestling with the problem. Means let them struggle. Don't, try to speed up the process. Let them take the whole discussion in any direction, but bring them back to the correct direction. If it goes out of hand, the discussion, your work as a facilitator is to bring the discussion back, but don't try to stop the discussion or don't try to speeden up the PBL session. Okay. So what is the process? The process is, first the students will identify the objectives which they have to address. Then they will decide what instruments we will use to demonstrate, what activities we will do. Should we go to library or should we go to the machine room? Maybe they go to the tablet room and take some video of how tableting is done, anything. Then your work is how you will assess them. Then how much time you can give to this activity in your institute, you have to decide. You have to form the groups and then you have to start. You have to monitor and coach. Coaching means not teaching. Coaching means just guiding. So this was the methodology part. So I will take a few questions, then I will go to the last part of the thing, which is how you are going to do it in your college. Let me see some questions in the chat box. If PBL also could be applied in practical classes, yes, see what we are doing, supposing there are 4 hours practical, supposing you are finishing the practical within 1.5 hours. So sometimes what we are doing in that last 2 hours or something, we are keeping the PBL session also. It is closely aligned with constructivism, yes, because see, we are giving a problem, then small bits and bits they are finding out. Generic, innovator, then bioavailability, then absolute bioavailability, then relative bioavailability, then small pieces they are putting together and they are constructing the whole picture. What is the whole picture about? The whole picture is about bioequivalence. Okay. Is it better to include this with normal class routine? No, this is a very excellent question because I think sir wants to do it in his college. So what I will do, I will share to you that how we have, so you will understand better. I will be showing you my own college timetable. So you will understand that we can, how to allot the time. Yes. Can we give the PBL as a long-term task? We are not giving PBL as a long-term task. Sir, no, we are not giving. What we are giving, short problems we are giving. Basically, no, undergraduate students, we are not giving very difficult, simple problem. And we are, means some portion of the syllabus we are trying to complete in that PBL. That is the aim we are doing presently. So that, first students get used to it. Means this week I gave this problem, supposing of biopharmaceutics. Then next week PBL, when they will come and give presentation of this whole thing. So in class, I will not teach bioequivalence. It is over in the PBL sessions only. Okay. 5 to 7 days, come back. So very short, but it should be some part of your syllabus which you are completing. Only then it is a teaching pedagogical tool. No, if I have to teach separately in class and PBL separately, then too much work. So some short. So first, initially what I feel, just identify which topics are good for PBL. Now, some very difficult topics, which are concept based, you cannot miss lectures. Don't leave it on them. Now, concept based, which you feel that, they will not understand, those we are teaching. But which are, like bioavailability, I will teach definitely. But this is now just an application of bioavailability. It can be put in PBL. Start like this. Okay. What about the student who will not search or give the answer what other has given in question? See, that is your work as a facilitator. That what I told you, knowledge, skill, attitude. We are building attitude. No, so your work is to push him. that why you are not doing. You are good at communication also, but you are not taking interest. Like this, we have to bring about the changes in the attitude of the student in PBL session, which we are not able to do in the classroom teaching session. Okay, you have to see that your facilitator work is being done properly. Ask him that what have you found out, what is your contribution to this problem. Make everybody come together. That is your role. Okay. In higher education, collaborative learning is very helpful. People, learn together. Working in collaboration is the way forward. So problem-based learning is collaborative learning only. It is very important because, when you go to the company also, the first thing they see in you is whether you are a team player or not. If you are a good team player, only then you will become a good team leader also. So PBL is a way to bring these all students together. Some of them feel that they are very superior. Some of them feel they are very inferior. Some teachers have also labeled students as he's bad student, he's good student. All this bias can be removed when we do a good PBL session. We try to take everybody together and collaboratively bring up everybody. Okay. So I think I have taken all the questions. I will tell you about the routine. Now we are going to the implementation, which is very important for you when you go back to your college. What you are supposed to do, your principal will ask you, you attended one FDP, did you learn something? So you will say, I learned PBL. So you are supposed to implement it. How will you implement? You go to your college and you first appoint a PBL coordinator. Then you identify, it is initially, first you identify not all teachers can be good PBL trigger writers and authors. You identify who will be able to write. You select topics. I told you, don't teach. We can't leave the difficult topics where a lot of our, experience is coming in teaching. That we can't leave for the PBL session. So this is a type of blend. I'm saying you do lectures also, and simultaneously you do few PBL sessions also in the beginning. That is what we are doing. We are not teaching everything in PBL. Some 20-25% we are doing in PBL, rest we are teaching, because even we have to see that completely we cannot leave everything on PBL. Our students might not be so bright. So you select topics. You prepare trigger, facilitator, guides. I hope you have understood what is the role of facilitator guide. Facilitator could be of any subject, but if he has in his hand the facilitator guide, he will be able to facilitate the PBL process. So people will submit. Vetting process, I have told you, second vetting. Yes, proper trigger should be circulated to the involved faculty. Involved faculty means who is going to take this PBL session 3 days before the PBL session. Why? Because see, she or he could be of a different subject from the subject who has written the trigger. So if she has any doubts, she can come and ask the trigger writer. Like this in the library, we are doing on these small. Now, supposing there is a 6 to 8 students, we have to make them sit in one group. So every group will have a different facilitator, but all could be doing the same PBL. Have you understood? Means the same problem is there on all these groups, but facilitator has to be there for each group, because role of the facilitator is to keep the whole dynamics of this group moving. At the end, the facilitator also has to assess all these students. And assessment is not only about knowledge, it is also about the skills, it is also about the attitude. You prepare a PBL timetable in your college, you decide where you will do. This library has reading room, no? In that also you can do. But now some group feels that, madam, it is becoming too noisy. Then take your group, facilitator takes his group, goes to some lab which is empty, doesn't matter. So, but they are all got the same problem. Okay. Decide faculty who will. You have to see your workload, who is free, block the dates for the PBL session. Then number of facilitator depends upon number of students. Usually one is to 8. Don't take more than 8 students. Then it becomes too much of noise in the PBL session. It doesn't happen properly. Decide the number of sessions and duration of each session. We usually take, I told you, that not more than 2 hours. Okay. First session, all the discussion will be there. Then after a gap of 5 to 7 days, again they will come back. If they have not completed discussion in first session, again discussion. If they have completed, then directly they can do presentation. Grouping of students should be random. Don't have any bias that are a slow learner, advanced learner, how they will be together. I should put this PBL only for advanced learners. No, it should be random, because in the group we should have the bright students also, the slow students also. Our aim is that as a group also they help each other. If we are not able to help each other in their learning, how these students are going to help in the society? At least they should be able to help their own friend in learning, no? So then only they will do larger work in the society. Now, you know, group of that PBL should be in advance. You should announce. It should not happen that today is 4 o'clock, there is PBL till 3:30. You have not announced. Be serious about this activity. Already the group should be put. Otherwise, the facilitator, you are searching last minute. No, the group should know this is my facilitator and this room number, tutorial room or library or lab where I'm going to go for my PBL. What we generally do, we brief everybody in our that induction program only. We tell everybody that in our college we also have the problem based learning sessions, and we give a brief idea about this pedagogical tool PBL in our induction program. So it is very good way. Parents also feel good when we talk that, you know, in our college we will teach through this PBL sessions also. Pre-PBL meeting of all the facilitators should be done before the PBL session. With whom they will do this meeting? With the trigger writer. So he will tell them exactly that what all they need to understand. Why this is done? Because there should be standardization of the facilitation. You know, in a class you have got 60 students. So if you are taking 6 students, 10 facilitators with the same problem, they are going in different groups. So you should have standardized facilitation. So they should talk everything to the trigger writer so that they are clear what is the learning objective hidden in this trigger by the trigger writer. And then they can clarify their doubts, all these facilitators, because they could be of any subject, cognosy, chemistry, pharmaceutics. Trigger could be of any different subject. They can clarify their doubts, exchange ideas and opinions during this session. Now you will ask me that what are the problems in your college you faced for conducting PBL? See, it is, we can keep only 6 to 8 students. So in my final year, I have 117 students. So getting too many facilitators free is also one big problem. Okay, because faculty is busy with the traditional means lecture practical is going on, and besides that I'm having the PBL session. So you might have to see how to best keep these sessions. Then quality control on the trigger. First year, some new fresh teachers are coming. They are not writing the triggers properly. That could be one issue which we have to keep a quality control on trigger. When this PBL session started, no, my librarian started complaining that too many students are coming in the library asking for printouts, and many people are visiting the sterile lab and everything. So, but it is good, no? Otherwise, in today's world, who's going to the library? There were books which were not touched for years. After the PBL session started, at least they started going and seeing the reference books, no? And you might have some conflict in the timetables, but that you can always resolve. That is not such a big issue. So PBL is relevant, it is rigorous, and it is application fostered, because already they have understood that, you know, how it is going to be applied in the real world. These are a few more benefits of PBL, which I will not repeat. This I want to just say that your library will be used to the fullest, because I know that nowadays students don't go to library. They are not used to picking up physical books. They only read on that small mobile. you will see a change that your library will be used. And because they have found out the entire thing on their own, they will not memorize it now, they will remember it more. And because you as a facilitator are dealing with a small group of students, your faculty student interaction will also increase. Now, believe me that the students will start enjoying the process if you do it properly, and the PBL will encourage multiple perspectives. Students will come up with more, ideas during this PBL session. They will think critically and independently. So should you consider PBL? Yes, if you want to challenge your students, if you want to improve motivation, if you want them to become lifelong learners, if you want to increase the use of your computer room and library, and you want to increase student-faculty interaction. Another important thing is when they give those small presentations, that time what happens is you are able to see their presentation skills. So, you can talk a lot about, see, don't keep reading from the slides. You should have eye contact. You can correct him about his body language, his hand movements. So about communication skills, are we taking, any such classes? Then in final year, we have to take. So these things we can cover in the PBL sessions. Are we teaching anywhere about teamwork? No, but it is a modern job requirement. So we are teaching teamwork. If somebody is fighting, arguing, you can, tell them over there that how you can diffuse their tensions and help them work in the team. And analysis, yes, analysis, definitely the first thing when they look at the problem, they analyze and they try to find out the learning objective. So these skills are there. Now I'll be taking you through some triggers so that you people can understand that what you have to do when you go back to your own college. So can you see this is a pharmaceutics 2 trigger for the third year BPharm. A pharmaceutical company manufactures uncoated tablets. The range of products includes tablets of moisture-sensitive drugs and low-dose drugs. Sometimes the process of granulation leads to soft tablets. Currently, they want to launch a drug that degrades in acidic medium. It has a large absorption window in the intestine in the form of a tablet. Formulation scientists, along with the ongoing formulations, are trying to finalize excipients for this tablet. Simultaneously, QA is working on the test procedures for the new tablets. Further, additional equipment to be used in manufacturing of these new formulations have to be purchased. This trigger has been given to the students of which class? Third year. So why do you think this trigger has been given? Can anybody just write? 1 minute. Huh? So you can think what could be. So first thing what they will do, this is short trigger. So some short part of the TY BPharm Pharmaceutics 2 will be covered in this particular trigger. So what part could be covered? Maybe the teacher has already taught something about methods of granulation. So now she wants to, she's talking about something about entry coating. Then she's talking that what could be IPQC tablets, IPQC test. Then she's talking about what are the, it degrades in acid medium. So they will discuss that whether we should do coating. Then coating, if they discuss, then what are the additional equipments for coating. Anything else you have discovered in this trigger? Anybody wants to write? Okay, so I will just show you the, see, short facilitator notes. Why granulation is required, types of granulation, when are they used? Because see, in the beginning, there was a question. Their range of products includes tablets of moisture sensitive drugs and even low dose drugs. So which is the method for which granulation? Now they said that sometimes the granulation process leads to soft tablets. So which process leads to soft tablets? What are the excipients? What is the reason for coating? What are the types of coating? See, equipment for coating. And I told you IPQC test. This all is given in the facilitator note. So even if you are a pharmacognosy teacher, You can give them some hint. Arey, how are tablets made? What is the first step in tablets? So they will say granulation. Then you will say, what is it a different granulation for sensitive drug? Is it a different granulation for low dose drug? Like this, you can give some hints and some open-ended questions so that they write all these objectives. Then they will divide the work. That two things somebody will find out, to somebody. Next time they come, they will present this whole topic. These reference books have been given by whom? By the trigger writer. If they ask you, ma'am, I'm not able to find this IPQC tests in any book, then you can open your facilitator notes and tell them that it might be given in the Lachman. Like this, you can have. Okay. Now, besides this, I want to show you one or two websites. Like supposing you are teaching some, what do we call, APHE or something, you can directly go to website, take a short story from the website, and that could also be your trigger. So it becomes more, real for them. Now see here, they have written a story about Kashi. Okay. Now he's written that, if they, from this you can take a few lines. That first signs that you can say Kashi has, you can make a trigger. Don't have to give the whole story, but you can give a trigger that Kashi, nobody was willing to take care of him. And there was leprosy. This could be a trigger on leprosy. White spot on his thigh, then take this. Some people used to run away. So you can directly take from a website. Leprosy mission is this. I have taken wounds. Take 3-4 lines about this. Nobody is willing to touch us. So see this, you are making him connected with the society if you give this type of real trigger also. And then obviously this trigger has your course learning objectives hidden in it. So this is like here, you can say treatment was there. So he will find out what kind of treatment. If it is written that people are not, touching him, then why people are not willing to touch him. Okay. So 3-4 lines you can take from this website and you can make your own trigger. 1 minute. Huh? So like I will show you the learning objectives. So at the end of the PBL session, what is leprosy? What are the signs and symptoms of leprosy? Understand the prejudice, stigma, myths, truths behind leprosy. What are the investigation, diagnostic tests, aims of treatment, management of leprosy, understanding transmission and prevention of leprosy? All this you could directly take from this website and give a small paragraph that could also serve as a trigger. Okay. From anywhere. This is just an example. Okay. Now I will show you one more trigger. Yes. Now see, this is a very good news. If you give like this, it triggers his mind. It is connected with the real world. That FDA orders Zantac off the store. Now, why? This is very catchy line. First line. Okay. Why the student will think why the FDA is ordering the Zantac off the store. So there was some problem in this Zantac. No. Now first he will see what is Zantac. It is a brand name. What is its generic ranitidine? Why was it taken off? Because it had some impurity. What was the name of the impurity? They will find out. Don't give the whole thing. You just give this. Zantac was taken off the shelf due to cancer-causing chemicals, and give 1 or 2 lines from here. Then you don't give him the name of, then he will find out, what was the cancer-causing chemical? Then he will find out the name. It was N-nitrodimethylamine. Like this, okay, impurities can be there in the drugs also. Then what is the level of the impurities which is allowed? Zantac is a very old drug. Then how come this happened? Like this, it will trigger his mind. So level of impurities. So this could be a trigger for even which subject we can call it, pharmaceutical analysis. So you can take like this directly from the newspaper also. any newspaper morning cutting is coming, no, then FDA has closed down some plant, like this news is coming. So why it happened? So it is all a real life trigger we can give like this. Like this, you can give a trigger for GMP. Now, supposing a news item comes that Sun Pharma gets 6 observations from US FDA for the Halol plant. So this is one very good trigger. Okay, what FDA can get, what do you mean by observation? Only the student will not know. So for GMP, anybody is teaching, so you can give this. So what were those observations, you know? Okay. I think it has not got loaded. So the observation could be made basically could be because they are not following the proper GMP. So what were those 3, 4, 6 observations? Maybe 6 observations to finish in one PBL will become long. So you take only the first 3 observations and give them for the discussion. And from that, they will find out the whole thing about good manufacturing practices to be followed in the tableting. Because this was about tablets, it is not loaded properly. But I hope you have understood what I'm trying to say, that you could make a trigger from real life issues also. The student feels more connected. I'm coming to the last part of today's talk. Before I go to assessment, does anybody want to ask anything? Does anybody want to ask anything?
Yes, if anybody want to ask anything, you can unmute yourself and directly ask to madam.
Yes, then I will go to otherwise the last part, which is how you are supposed to assess a PBL session. And then I will show you some timetables of my institute. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, yes. Yeah, please ask.
This is Deepak Meher from Tetra Chandra Pharmacy College, Jharkhand.
Yes.
And I want to know about the PBL assessment format. In those, all this process will be recording and.
Yes. Yes, I'm coming to that, sir. Just give me 1 minute. And actually, you know, this is a complete 1-day workshop, which I have condensed as much as I can. So if there is anything which you people haven't understood, you can even mail to me later, okay? Because usually when I do this face-to-face workshop, I do it for a day. I make people write triggers, then we discuss the triggers. So, you know, condensing it into 1.5 hours, if I have missed out, you know, and you people haven't understood, you could always mail to me, but I'm coming to the assessment part, okay?
Yeah, ma'am. Please share your email ID.
Yes, I will share my email.
Can you please share all of your slides so that we can go thoroughly and we can understand the process all the better?
Yes, definitely. I will share it with the person who's the organizer, and he can send it to all the attendees, okay? Now the implementation we finished. I think we have to just complete the assessment now. I'll quickly show you that, you know, the assessment is not a judgment. You want to see his personality judgment. We are not doing. Don't go with a bias that this is a slow learner. See, in life, nobody is slow or fast. The day I always keep telling my students ki jab jago tab savera. So any student, the day he, you know, wakes up from his long slumber and he becomes active, he will also become a good student. Okay. So you also don't have, you know, this bias in your mind. You just see his performance. If he's not performing in the PBL session, you push him, you motivate him. Okay. So you just see whether they have clarified the problem properly. You see, you know, you have to observe how these people are going through everything. Are they discussing properly? Are they able to generate the hypothesis properly? Hypothesis is the learning objective. Okay. Are they coming with, you know, curiosity, open mind, or they are just coming? You have to see all these abilities in them. whether they are using the right language. Sometimes they are making too many grammatical mistakes. So in presentation, again, you can teach them that speak in small sentences, so that you are not using the wrong language. Then are they able to explain what they have understood? Sometimes, I'm a very good student, I have understood everything, but I'm not able to express it to the others. So help him come up, build his expressing ability. That is the aim of this assessment. So I will just show you. See, now here this is our peer assessment form. Now there are two forms. One is the peer assessment form and one is the facilitator assessment form. I think something there. Okay, doesn't matter. See, both the forms are the same. Okay, facilitator and the peer assessment form, both are the same. Means their criteria is the same. What is a peer assessment form? That if there are 6 students in this group, then all will give feedback about each other. That is, supposing there are these 6 students in this. Okay, so no, 8 students are there. So that roll number 8 will not is filling this form. He is giving marks to everybody, that what he observed, how they were behaving during this session. So that is known as a peer assessment form. Like this, let them also be able to come up with some problems in their team members. Then you are there, you will help in the subsequent session and tell him that your team members don't like this approach, or you don't want to tell like this, you can tell him that you can be a little less aggressive, so that when you are working also, people will not like so much of aggression, if you have found some things in this peer assessment form. Have you understood how we are to, like 8 number is giving to all. Then when 7 is giving, then 8 is here. Then he is giving the, means how was his knowledge? Is he doing critical thinking? Is he a means even the students come to know about each other. No, is he working in collaboration? They will give marks for each other. Okay. And 5 is for excellent, good, very good. This is peer assessment form. Same form is the facilitator assessment form. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, now you are the facilitator. You will take all the students and you will give them marks on how is his knowledge, is he understanding things, is he showing motivation for learning, is he willing to improve, is he working in collaboration. This last part is about the attitude, which you can help build up in the PBL sessions. Collaborative work, effective achievement of learning goals with commitment, interpersonal attribute. Does he accept the feedback with openness? Does he react positively to feedback? Does he stand up for his or her viewpoint during the presentation and during the discussions? So this is a peer assessment form. This is a facilitator. Both forms are the same. Okay, and one more thing I want to now show. I want to show a few timetables from, yes. There was a question by one sir that should we, how to make. See, now this is a separate PBL timetable. Please see, it is only a PBL timetable, okay? This is PBL session. Now, every the batch has got one practical day which is off, no? So that time you can keep a PBL session. This particularly has been there only for the PBL session timetable. This we kept in one. We just keep two to three PBL sessions a year for one, means for a semester. So this was for this week. Then from this week we had this PBL sessions. Rest of the timing classes are going on, okay? And for TY B Farm, like this, we made the timetable for the final year B Farm. This has got only the PBL sessions. When you will have which week? 2 weeks PBL sessions. So like this is a problem-based learning timetable. Okay. These are the teachers who will conduct it. That facilitators will be given on the notice board. So like this, you have to make a separate PBL session depending on which batch is free on which day. Supposing the batch has 20 students, then you will need about 3 teachers for that particular PBL, 3 facilitators for that particular PBL session. Like this, I will just show you how the students give us. So now this is this one teacher had written a trigger about cosmetic science, that it was about a shampoo. Okay, this was the trigger by the shampoo by the teacher. This is how she filled the form and gave everybody marks. Sorry, this I will have to rotate. One more time. Okay, so you see how she has given that all these are our roll numbers. This is final year 402. Okay, and they have given the marks to those. How many students they have got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 students she had taken in that group. So like this, you can, this is the facilitator assess form. Okay. And facilitator form I have shown you. Then I showed you the trigger. Now I want to show you students know for proof for NAC and all. We are even taking the students some notes and all. They are doing presentation, but just for filing. Now this is Karan Banthia student. For that same PBL cosmetics, he has given the answers. What were the answers? That what surfactants to be used, and whatever she has asked, what were the irritating agents in the shampoo, why there was irritation to the student. This was one student's part. So the other student must have found out some other part. This I'm just giving example, one student's part. So like this, 8 students found out 8 different things. So this we just file it in our PBL files, so that if we have to prove that we are taking some proofs are needed, for NAC and all. So we are doing like this. So this is one trigger on suspension. That why marketing, given pharmaceutical company tablet dosage form, now they are going to target pediatric patients. So marketing department suggests company launch a liquid product. Drug is poorly wettable. So, a lot of things are hidden learning objective. Somebody is scribbling on the, please don't scribble on this.
Yeah, please, what is the thing you are doing? Please don't do this type of thing.
I know it is little lengthy, but it is, once we are sharing knowledge, it doesn't matter.
Then also, madam, we are all the faculty members only. We
15,
should maintain
20 minutes here and there, we should not be impatient. So because we are just here to learn something. So cost of the preparation should not be high. Means what she wants, what are wetting agents, what should be the suitable excipients for a suspension form. So like this, you can write, trigger should be short, okay? But lot of things are there. Learning objective is hidden in this trigger. Okay. So I think we have come to the, I showed you both the forms are the same. Peer means one student fills for the rest of his colleagues. Facilitator means you fill based on what you have observed in peer assessment form and your own assessment. You can give the feedback to the student in the subsequent PBL session. So I will conclude by saying that the best education reflects life, and it helps students acquire the knowledge and skills to live life to its fullest. PBL is not easy. It is difficult and complex, as is life. So please don't give it up. You will find initially some teething problems. Some teachers in your college will not be ready to write. Some triggers will not be proper. But once you do it, it will definitely bring results. Your students will perform better in the placement interviews, and lifelong learning is very important. You are a classic example of lifelong learning. All of you are teachers, but still you are there in the evening with me to learn. This is what is the good quality you must inculcate in your students also. He will become a lifelong learner when he says, I don't know. When he starts a quiz in his mind, why this problem has been given to me, Then he will find out the whole puzzle and put all the pieces together and complete one small part of your course objective. Okay. Oh, my email is not there. I will just type it. So that all of you can mail to me, and I will just be giving this. Please, everything is in small. jyotsna.madan@siagat.edu is my email ID. Okay. I think because that thank you was in this thing. It is all in small, okay? So you can please note down. I will. Has everybody taken the email ID? jyotsna.madan@siagat.edu. I'm from Pune, Srimati Kashibai Navle College of Pharmacy. So I will just take some questions if they are there in the chat box. So what about the students who will not search or give same? That I already explained, no? Then what is your role as a facilitator? You have to tell him, no, what was your contribution to this PBL? No, see, I feel that we should not approach that some Dr. Mishra, I don't agree with you that students don't change. They change. If we change, the students will change. You please have confidence in your ability, then the student will also change and he will learn. I'm dealing with such MPharm students, and I feel that in 2 years they change. It is all about how I as a teacher I deal with them. Anybody can change. This my 20 years of teaching experience says so. Stubborn and shy student, that is what we have to deal with, madam, in these PBL sessions. Your role as a facilitator is to make him overcome his shyness. You have to put questions, you have to put words in his mouth and tell him, go, you also find out. Even if he finds out little, says some wrong presentation also, you have to encourage him. It was excellent, you can do better than this. That is why we are having these PBL sessions, so that the shyness of the student goes. That stubborn student also, he becomes flexible, so that when in placement time, then how this shy student will speak, no? So if you start this from at least second year onwards, then the student will overcome shyness also. I hope I've answered your question, ma'am. Amrita ma'am.
Thank you very much, madam. It is a fantastic session, and very nicely you have explained the idea as well as given all the answer of different questions. Really very much thankful to you, madam.
Yes. Thank you.
I am
Yes.
just I'm telling to the participants, if still anybody has some question, you can directly discuss with our madam.
Yes. Because we are here to learn. See, no question is right or wrong. But I know it was very less time to explain a big topic. It would have been my pleasure if we could have been face to face, and I could have, you could have written some problems and we all as teachers would have discussed it. But I have given some idea. Hope everybody has understood what I have said. Anybody wants to ask anything?
Ma'am, this is Dhanabal Kumarasamy, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, it was a fantastic session, ma'am, on PBL, problem-based learning.
Yes.
And it was so you are so motivated and dedicated to the cause of this PBL implementation. we could hear that last 2 hours you are coughing mildly. I think you are not well, keeping well also.
Some allergic cough, the weather is changing a lot in Pune.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes it's raining. Yeah. Otherwise,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
okay. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Though your health is not cooperating, still the passion that you have shown to us is really something that we have to learn and practice in our teaching profession. That the passion, that the cause that we are doing. So it
Yes.
was so inspiring session, ma'am.
Yes.
And as you know, ma'am, in our this FDP program, at the end of the program, we used to give the assessment, means MCQ assessment based or something, ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
So if you could email us the some triggers and kind of some homework kind of thing, so that we could able to create triggers, and then we could it will be useful for us, ma'am. Some model documents, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. I will send this assessment sheet, and
Yes,
I will
ma'am.
send a few triggers.
Yes, ma'am. That would be it. From there onward, we can able to pick up, ma'am, because we have basically we are learning by examples, ma'am. So once we
Yes.
do one example, then we could able to pick up
Yes.
from there onwards,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes. I will take
Uh,
the email ID I have got of this organizer. I will mail to them, and they will mail
yes,
to the
ma'am.
participants. Yes.
Sure, ma'am. Definitely, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thanks. Anybody else?
Any other questions? Okay, ma'am. Then thank you very much. Uh, very fantastic. We have session you have given to us, and really, thank you very much. And madam, it will be. We hope that we will get you in future also in our future programs.
Yes, definitely. Today it is very short session, but I hope
Yes,
they
ma'am.
could deal.
Yes.
And I'm grateful to you and really
Yes.
honored that Bengal School of Technology invited me. PBL, I've been practicing, I've been giving talks on it for a long time, and it's always a pleasure when I'm invited. I hope I could have, contributed to some knowledge of all the
Definitely,
teachers
madam.
who attend. Thank you so much.
I just want to
And
inform all the participants that this is the end of today's session, and that, our last session will be tomorrow from 6 p.m. And after that, after just the completion of tomorrow's session, there will be the valedictory session. So please be there tomorrow. Thank you. Good night. Good night, madam.
thank
Good
you.
night,
Thank you,
madam.
sir. Good night. Good night. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.